What is going on, everybody? This is Brandon.
Stefan.
And Mike.
Welcome back to Comixkings, or welcome if this is your first time. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and welcome back to another episode of Archives. This is the Friday show that comes out 1 o'clock Eastern Time every Friday where we review a book. Today's book is Marvel Civil War by Mark Millar, Civi. This was Marvel's probably one of their biggest events, more modern events. Big modern event,
It's ridiculously important.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
So this book shakes the Marvel universe. Nothing's the same. Stakes are high, probably almost as high as Secret Invasion. Some could argue even higher. I love this book. As always, Stefan and Mike are here. How you guys doing today?
Great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm happy that this is one of my favorite events. Glad to be covering it.
I agree. This is like such a crucial book, and the art, first off, Civi Niven's art just blows my mind. But yes, I'm doing phenomenal. I love reading this book. It's such a good choice.
Right. And we read it twice. I read it twice this week, so I'm really excited to get into it. We open up with the first issue. Obviously, we open up with the first issue, not the third one. We open up with
sometimes it's a zero. Sometimes it's a zero.
Well, this one's a first one.
This one's a
yeah. We open up with the New Warriors. Who are the New Warriors? Mark Millar says, I don't care who the New Warriors are. You shouldn't care who the New Warriors are. So if you don't know who they are, who cares? They're a reality show, superhero team. They're a joke. This New Warriors is a joke. They're led by Speedball.
This was coming off the heels of like in the early 2000s when reality television shows were at their peak. Like everyone was doing
Survivor.
That. Yeah, Survivor. What was the Paris Hilton with Kate?
My Richie. Fabulous Life or something like that.
Yeah. And these were at their peak. So when the New Warriors were doing this, it was kind of cool. It was kind of fits for the times. Like, they were a lower tier super team trying to get their name out there. And like, what other way to do that than invite an audience to see how you guys operate?
Speedball's lower tier?
What?
I never knew.
No. Mark Millar wants you to know that they're lower tier because they're like, yeah, our job, we're 2 seasons in, our job is to go around to all 50 states and just beat up thugs, right? Yeah. Oh, but our biggest villains, guys, just broke out of Rikers, right? Because not everyone can break out of Rikers. I feel like Rikers is an easy prison in the Marvel universe because everyone just breaks out of Rikers. It's weird. Yeah. But that consists of Cobalt Man, Cold Heart, Speed Freak, and Nitro. So if you couldn't get any more C-list, I don't know cheating. Even though Nitro killed Captain Marvel back in the day,
and didn't he go toe to toe with the Hulk?
He went toe to toe with the Hulk. So Nitro, great. Everyone else, who cares? I believe they're like made a joke like I believe one of them fought Spiderman or like barely beat Spiderman or like. And Speedball's like, guys, this could be our entire second season. This is how we get Nova back on our team. This is how like Nova's gonna like choose us over space. It's like it's ridiculous. Okay. So they get made and there's an all-out battle, but there's like a TV crew, right? Now my heart goes out to the TV crew because you're completely defenseless while you're holding a camera, right? If I'm this close to Nitro, who's kicking, right?
The true heroes of this story.
Exactly, the true heroes of the broadcasters because
I love this. This panel as they're like it ties into what you're saying, how they launch into action, they get made. And he's like, he punches Nitro, but the cameraman says like, yo, the sound was off. Can we run that back? Can we run it again?
Yeah.
He's like, they're calling the shots like mid-fight. It's like during like let's say a sports game and the announcer goes, I missed that one. Let's go back a few minutes. Redo the play, guys. False start, that was supposed to happen. So our New Warriors, they're doing pretty well, but we haven't really seen Nitro yet. Namorita, who is cousins with Namor. We all know Namor. We're going to see Namor in this book. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for that because Namor has a classic line in this. He always does.
Always does. Yeah, he always needs the last line.
Yeah, we were just
classic Namor.
I feel like with every book Namor is in, he has like a Darth Vader, like, I am your father quote for everybody.
Yeah.
100%. I love it. But anyway, this is Namorita, and she goes over to Nitro. Now, this team is making a lot of mistakes. The first mistake is they're fighting in broad daylight because it's a reality show TV. That's a mistake because your job as a hero is to be the hero, not the cause of mass destruction. Right?
You would think.
And a big thing that we see a lot of times with our superheroes in cartoons, especially in cartoons and in film, is they're not responsible for the damage they leave behind. And that is a really big theme in this book. Okay, because Nitro, if you guys don't know who Nitro is, he goes nuclear. Okay, so his powers are when he gets out of control, when he gets angry, not when he gets angry, but when he gets triggered, when he gets set off, he is going to explode and go boom.
Yeah, Brandon, just and also real quick, I think that's what you said is a huge thing to get people prepared for this book. Just the sense of responsibility, one way or the other, is like the big thing about this book. Not just what this team is doing, but throughout the entire story, what it means to be responsible
and being held accountable.
Yeah, being held accountable.
Responsibility.
So that was a nice, Brandon. That was a nice word. That was very, very nice.
Thank you. I really do my best, and big shout out to Bang Energy for this. That is not sponsored, but it's been like helping me out today. But those are huge things in this book, right? And these ethical questions about being a superhero and kind of what goes on in our heroes' daily lives and how they look at the law, how other people look at them, all kind of intertwined. So every question you can have about a Marvel character, like the ethics behind it. Is this an ethical decision, right? That gets put to the test in this book. So I ask you guys, all the viewers, what side are you on? Are you on Team Captain America or Team Iron Man? We all know
it's tough. It's tough. After reading this book, it's tough.
You know what? I'm Team Cap all the way.
I'm a big Iron Man fan, and I won't lie.
Oh my God, we're going to fight. That's why the thumbnail is the way it is, people.
I always thought Iron Man was cool for the fact that he was a regular guy, like no powers, just his intelligence in a world of gods and super soldiers and people with extraordinary abilities. He's just a guy in a suit, like at the end of the day, like a suit that he created. And so with that, I always thought that was cool, but it was like Civil War. I really respected the fact that this is not something Tony was jumping to do, like start inside a civil war between superheroes, but he's being realistic and logical, and he was like, someone's got to spearhead this, or it's gonna get out of control. He was being logical, and I respected that. Like he knew he wasn't gonna be the good guy in the outcome of this.
Yeah, but he went about it the wrong way. I think that's like what really pushed me over to Team Cap was I everything that Tony did was to the letter. We're gonna get into this. Right,
both of them though, like definitely absolutely. Both of them. Cap also, his team, like they immediately went to like fight in action.
You know why?
Tony wanted to at least talk it out a little more at the beginning. Right. Cap was like, no,
we're throwing hands. But that's because of Maria Hill that we're also gonna get into. But the reason why we're still talking about this book today and like have the ability to argue, well, who was more right, who was more correct, and dissect these arguments is because of how well this book is written. And how true to character this is. This is the most true to character Marvel comic I have ever read, and I will say that over and over and over again.
It's ridiculously important. It's one of the like the key books, even being talked about today. Like this one, and then it's also say House of M, probably like one of the biggest storylines that are still referenced every so often in like modern Marvel comics.
I agree with that. There's still like plot threads or story bits that 15, 16 years later are still coming out of stuff that happened.
Was it the newest Devil's Reign storyline that's only 2 issues in? They actually just referenced the Civil War. Actually, that something about it happened. They referenced specifically, but like,
they also referenced the Outlawed Act, and that's just Marvel saying, "Hey, our champions."
That was their teen Civil War
shit, right? Who cares? We canceled the book anyway.
We'll let the adults have super. The teens can't do it. It's drawing the line, all right?
Yeah. So sorry, Miles. You got to be put in second place. You can't do it because you're a kid, but we're not going to catch you. That's what's going to happen because we need your own series to sell. That's what Marvel really said. But anyway, Namor goes boom, and that's what triggers this whole event. I know we kind of segued a little bit.
The New Warriors were way over their head with this one.
They were way
Nitro
over their
is
head.
just he like you said, he can fight Hulk. He can fight he is all over the place. So like,
killed Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. Thank you. Yeah,
I'm sorry, but that at least puts you at a B- in my book.
Yeah, he was top tier, and they were not ready for that. And unfortunately, because they're inexperienced and because of their arrogance in this situation, we get this next page.
Right. And because of their motive, which is to get more views. It's like it's all about them, and that's like another like big thing about a lot of superheroes in Marvel is, they're always so narrow focused on what's in front of them rather than the community that they're serving and the community that they're actually like their physical environment.
Right.
Right. which is understandable because the stakes are higher, so they're locked into the moment. I would say, like, if we're really like treating it like a real thing, like, you know, it's comics, but
I think
it's no excuse. If you're gonna be extraordinary, be extraordinary. There's little room for error.
Are you talking about in reference to the?
I'm saying that to the New Warriors because they suck.
Well, they don't suck, but that was the gimmick, like that, like you guys said earlier, the theme of being held accountable and being responsible for your actions. Like they, like Mike said, they were in over the head. They had no business trying to tangle with that tier of villains, you know, like, because they had just done a mini series that set up that whole live, you know, the reality TV show New Warriors by Zeb Wells and Scotty Young, but that established, and that came out a few months before this, but that kind of, you know, that set them up, showing that they were fighting like these corny villains, you know, and like they were, you know, it was all for the show. So it's like, sorry, I got off topic, but they had to be used as an example for the themes of this book.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks because Speedball is like the most lovable character from this. Whenever you see Speedball in a Marvel comic, oh yeah, he exists. Oh, I used to love Speedball, but you're like, you'll forget about him every other time.
And he's a really cool power set. Like I always think he's underused, but he's always so silly.
But what I really appreciated is how he.
I mean, he's not silly after this.
Well, no, he turns independent. And
exactly,
like,
that's what I'm talking about.
I was like, that's awesome. That was like honestly like quite genius. Is in one of the tie-ins written by Paul Jenkins. I believe it was Ron Garney who did the artwork. Good friend of the show.
I think it was
Ron Garney.
I don't think it was Garney, but I think it was George's Genty or something like that. I wasn't
wrong. Was it Ron Garney? I'll look that up after the show, but I'll make the corrections in the comments and everything. By the way, if you guys want to check out this book on Amazon or at JLCS, links are in the description below. But it was drawn by somebody else, and it was a Speedball who's the leader. Ends up all the pins, all of the people that died is like they're like stainless steel like screws that are driving into his back, and that triggers his power. So that's like his way of remembering. He's guilt ridden, and we're gonna deal with that.
Like a mental block or something that he could only access after this incident. He could only access his powers when he experienced pain, like because he felt guilty about. It was weird, but good.
And it was great. It was great. Honestly, this book is one of the only events I will actually like say, hey, go read all the freaking tie-ins because they're all freaking great.
I completely agree. Yeah, usually I'm not a tie-in person. I almost never recommend them, but this one it helps. It really is awesome.
You needed tie-ins to really flesh out the scope of this story, like this event. Debatable just to say that the tie-ins are necessary for a lot of events nowadays, but when this particular story came out, it was so massive, the scope of it, that you needed these 7 issues weren't enough to flesh out everything going on.
It was enough to tell the main story, but if you wanted to see like the way these tie-ins worked, you want to see what these guys are doing, go read the tie-in, right?
And how it affected the world around them more,
right?
Like, specifically,
exactly. Yep. I've never seen a tie-in that affected books month to month. Like when this hit, and I was reading New Avengers, it immediately, like, you know, it affected like every book in the whole line, and
Captain America, Thunderbolts,
Captain America by Brubaker got affected. I mean, because spoiler alert, Cap dies after this. But sorry, if you
it's been a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah. It's like Cap gets arrested and then gets shot like right after this. So cool, great. So we're gonna figure out who did that. But we're picking up the debris right now in Stamford, Connecticut. Yes. What was really interesting about this is first off, we see Rachel and not Jean. Which that's because I don't think Jean was around at this time.
Yeah, she had just
between. I think this was between like her 3rd or 4th death.
Somewhere it was like one of her deaths. Whenever they want to redo Jean's character and make Jean relevant again, they'll kill her. And that's the way Marvel used to work with the X-Men. Is whenever we feel like making you relevant, we can't because we don't have any TV rights to you right now. You'll just be our 3rd favorite book, but we'll just like keep making you guys semi-important.
Except in this book. Except in this book
because you don't matter at all. Like X-Men just doesn't matter.
I liked that tie-in. We're talking about tie-ins. I liked that miniseries tie-in too. The Civil War X-Men tie-in.
Yeah. Not 198, but Civil. Yeah.
The X-Men had like it was like a 3 or 4 part story with like the original X-Men except for Jean. And then I liked the Wolverine tie-in to this too. Actually, the Wolverine tie-in to this was really good.
Was dope.
Down Nitro.
When he hunted down Nitro, it was really good.
Humberto Ramos on art.
Humberto Ramos, yeah.
Humberto Ramos, when he actually could draw things that he still can in Trench Academy, but he took a hot break when he came on the Spiderman during the Spencer run. Let's be honest here.
I love it.
I love that
Wolverine series. So good.
But what's really interesting is the Sentinels are there to keep an eye on the X-Men. I believe we were Enemy of the State was really like referenced in this. Especially with Wolverine. I saw like a little retcon when it was like dealing with Wolverine, and they're like, "Yeah, you're the reason why we're scared of mutants." And I'm like,
"No, that this was happening around the time of 198. Like 200. There's like 200 mutants left in the world after House of M, and so like the Sentinels were sent to like the Xavier's Institute to kind of.
Well, in Enemy of the State, didn't Wolverine try to kill the president?
He did because he was.
That was retconned in this book. That was retconned in this book.
They did reference it, but you're talking about the mom and the son. She's like, "Oh, mommy, like, you know, who are they?" And she's like, "Oh, those are the mutants. They're bad. You know, that's just like the general vibe mutants have always gotten.
Yeah.
Day one.
Yeah, but there was a moment in this book where they're like, "Yeah, Wolverine, like you tried to kill the president. Of course you would say this." And they're like, I was like, "Oh yeah, a Mark Millar book that he wants everyone to go back and read."
JR, baby. That was a good one.
Yeah.
So we're at the funeral in Stamford, Connecticut for the kids who died, and this lady is screaming at Tony Stark because he's the one who finances the New Warriors. He's the one who finances everyone. So this was like a big wake-up call for Tony's motives, and we see a direct reference to this in the movies when Sokovia gets dropped from the sky and one of the mother's sons died.
Yeah.
So that was a clear reference to that. For anyone who wants to
sorry to interrupt. I just love this little panel of Jen and I forgot his name.
Larry King.
Larry King, yes, okay. And it's just little panels like this that try to, you know, add to the scope and realism. Like you see this and you're like, "Oh wow, superheroes talking to Larry King like it's something serious." Like, you know, this is heavy subject matters.
It makes it real. It makes it real, more relatable. That's what I think we had a discussion about this last time, or I had this recently. It's like that's kind of the big thing with why a lot of people relate more to Marvel. It's like, first off, the superheroes.
That was me yesterday.
They have superheroes with day jobs, so you understand them. And then they add things like this all the time in Marvel. They do this a lot more in Marvel than DC, where they throw in little aspects that are very your favorite TV anchor or your favorite like TV, you know, your YouTube streamers on a panel or two, right?
Yeah,
it just makes you feel like they're already part of your own universe. So it's really cool.
I mean, we saw Elton John in the Hellfire Gala. We just saw
exactly.
Kevin
Feige was in the Hellfire Gala. It was really
cool. We saw Eminem. Bro, we saw Eminem in the Hellfire Gala. My man was dripped out.
Punisher, one of like a ridiculously hard book to find.
Right? I was like, you know what? Why didn't we get Snoop Dogg in the Hellfire Gala? You know, I thought they were all about plants in that book, but anyway, I digress. So Johnny is meeting up with this girl who he ends up like saving 2 others beforehand, but that's not his excuse. He's like, "Oh, saving 2 children that happened to be grown women." But because of what happened, Johnny, I guess, was like unaware that it was going to directly affect him. He gets jumped by a bunch of pedestrians who he usually who he's familiar with, because there's some familiarity. I always cannot say that word. Stop it. So they end up beating the crap out of him, which puts him in the hospital. This is going to be a plot point that is later addressed between Reed and Sue, because it creates a lot of contrast between these 2 characters going forward. We flip to the Baxter Building, which is the home of the Fantastic Four. We see all of our heroes meeting together. This is where we get all the ethical questions of why do we wear these masks? What are we doing here? Right? And for a lot of these heroes, for a lot of the public, this was the tipping point in, okay, now we actually need to have a way to hold our heroes responsible because of the catastrophic damage that they leave behind. That is what they're really worried about. It's not that they save lives, it's the fact that they kill some in the process. Right?
Yeah. I mean, not only that, but, you know, it's like if they're trying to save the day and something they do results in a pedestrian or civilian's death, they should be held accountable. Like, "Oh, we tried. I could be anybody underneath this mask, but I tried to save your life. I inadvertently might have caused your death, but hey, I tried." So there's like, you know, they're all meeting up to kind of like, yo, where do we stand on this, guys? Like, should we be going? Like, should we side with the government on this? Are we not taking holding ourselves accountable, or should we just kind of, should we stand up to this?
Yeah, that was a big thing that I liked about the actual. The MCU Civil War. They're very different, but the one aspect where they're very similar is that kind of that kind of question that they asked is that Captain America's stance about like, you know, if we need to act, we should act and not have to wait, you know, like, and if we're waiting for someone, how do we know that they're the ones, you know, sending us to do the right thing, you know, or Captain America, or Iron Man is bringing up the question of, you know, what if we need, you know,
what if we need
accountability, you know, like, like the public wants that in their heroes, or are we even being heroes if we're not being accountable to ourselves? So like,
are we just vigilantes?
That was that's a really good, that kind of,
back and forth
theme from the book into the movie is very, very similar, and I liked that a lot.
Right, and it's always like that big question is like, are we doing more right or are we doing more wrong, or how delicate are our decisions, even on an everyday level, even if like we're not being superheroes, right? Because it's hard to, we never really sit back and look at those ethical questions until something like big happens, you know. Iron Man's point of view is really like, we need to earn the public trust back, and if this is the way to do it, we can play the long game and end up getting our freedom back. Captain America's like, yeah, we do enough. We really like do enough for them. You know, we should be able to make these calls on our own. Because Captain America, while Captain America has that ability, not everyone else does, which we've seen in the New Warriors. So I could see Captain America's opinion is very flawed as well. Both of them are flawed. Both of them are right. Commander Hill, who is now the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. So she's director Maria Hill, one of the characters that Brian Michael Bendis invented. And she is addressing Captain America because she wants him to make all of the other superheroes register. And she's basically forcing him, like, his opinion is made, like, directly barking orders. Now, here's the biggest thing.
Because he's the soldier, right? He's the soldier.
He's the soldier. But Maria Hill is a pushover who really, really, really just wanted this job and to be a boss, because I guarantee you she had no friends growing up. So now she's like playing big boss.
Don't sell Maria Hill's name. She didn't even want the director job. It was like Secret Invasion. They put her in that position of power. She even referenced it. I think it was in New Avengers, but she said that she was just like some paper pusher. She was working at a desk, and all of a sudden she got promoted to be like the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. out of nowhere.
Oh, she's terrible at it. And she like already assembled like a whole task force and everything to round up superheroes, and that really triggered Captain America. So she turned his people, like his aide, so she turned S.H.I.E.L.D. troopers against Captain America, who he has served with and fought with. So not only is Captain America like really ticked off now, he's made up his mind, and Maria Hill is basically just sold this entire series because of that one decision to go after Captain America instead of reasoning with him.
She wasn't trying to, I wouldn't say she was necessarily trying to go after him, but she was like trying to gauge where he was because, you know, like you said, they had already made up their mind about how they were going to pursue.
Yeah, but she was like directing orders at the guy. She literally said she
It's true. It's true.
She was barking orders at the guy. So like that really ticked him off, and they put tranquilizer. Now this is like some of the best Captain America sequences we ever got. He jumps out, and what was really cool is he lands on a jet who gets deployed to go after him, but he ends up saving the soldier and going out to coffee with him the next day, which is like really dope. Like he breaks the engine and then like gets his parachute out. And then you know it's a Marvel event that really hits the fan because the Watcher shows up.
I know this is I love the Strange's Doctor Strange's words there. Like, it doesn't bode well for us if he shows up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Whenever you know that a Marvel event is going to be legit, the Watcher shows up.
Yeah,
if the Watcher doesn't show up, it means that you're either reading the end of Original Sin or the beginning of Empire or War of the Realms, because at that time he is dead.
Yeah, well,
but
and eyes,
but
no eyes.
We could have done without Original Sin. I will be the first to say we could have done without that book.
I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. It was a cool like mystery story. I think that's kind of what
it was a murder mystery, but I was a murder mystery story.
It was cool.
I was like, this is tell me you're trying to be Identity Crisis without telling me you're trying to be Identity Crisis.
Yeah.
Tell me you didn't get that idea.
Yeah. With a little less trauma. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was like, hey, let's Marvel-wise this book. But anyway, we're in Washington, D.C., and the president has made up his mind. They passed the Superhuman Registration Act, and he's like, yeah, what really pisses us off is the Resistance now as a leader in Captain America. That is huge for them. Terrible for us. And Iron Man's like, yeah, let's take care of this. You go ahead and plan out the logistics of this new legislation. We, meaning myself, Hank Pym, and Mr. Fantastic, will deal with Captain America. Now,
so the smart people, right? They're the smart people.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The three smartest people right? You would think like book-wise intelligence, they put their brains together, they can come up with some pretty extraordinary things.
They do.
Except for the fact that they have little to none humanity.
No, not at all.
These are the three most. I would say Thor has more human capabilities, or Star-Lord has more human capabilities. Hell, even Nova, Gamora. I would even go as far to say Thanos sometimes. I'm kidding, not Thanos.
Even Groot.
You know what I'm saying?
I would say Groot as well.
I would say Groot. At least he says I am and Groot instead of like not caring for anyone, you know?
Exactly.
Even
I mean,
Rocket.
I think the Council of Ricks is enough. Like not Ricks, sorry, the Council of Reeds. Council of Reeds.
You know, I like the Council of Ricks too, you know?
I know. I think that says enough about Reed's character.
Wubba lubba dub dub.
Exactly.
Yeah, get swifty with it. That's what Mark Millar did. So we're on issue 2, and we're really just dealing with Maria Hill is trying to round up as many villains as possible to make herself look good, except for the fact that Captain America got there first and has rounded up Vulture, Grim Reaper, and is like, as they're making arrests, HR is like getting more and more and more reports, and they're just like, damn it, it's Captain America. It's Captain America. So that like
does best.
It really ticks them off, and I'm like happy that it does.
I just want to also say this is probably some of the best Steve McNiven art I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, it is.
This is his golden book. It really is. And I just reread like Old Man Logan 2 the other day, and that's really good too. But this like was a whole nother level.
Right. So then after like Iron Man kind of has his little meeting with his team saying, okay, yeah, we just gotta go after these guys. We see Reed, who is hard at work in ignoring his family because Ben Grimm is watching the kids, and Sue is trying to talk to Reed about everything that's going on with Johnny, her brother, right? Reed's brother-in-law, right? The Fantastic Four are the most intricate family in all of comic books. You cannot argue that there is another family that is more close-knit.
Nope, you cannot.
You cannot. And if you do, then you just, I have to say, you just don't like comic books. You have never read a Fantastic Four book. But, so there is this number 42 on this disc, and Sue asks and Reed says it's classified information, which that just means that screams at my face, hey, look, something's going to happen. Because usually they share stuff, right?
Usually do, yeah. They're like, first off, they're probably the longest running married couple ever.
That still like is
like that's still married, they're still together, yeah. So I think that tells you something, and so they're having a little bit of a marriage tiff right now.
Right. And you see just so many math problems and everything. This is actually my favorite sequence of art, just because like I think it worked. I think the facial expressions really sold what is like about to happen, and I don't know why, but I really want Steve McNiven to draw a Fantastic Four comic. Like, yeah. And
I would love that.
Also really weird to me because Mark Millar and Brian Hitch wrote Fantastic Four
comic.
He did? Whoa, who's back? Everyone, station, Stephen. But what was really interesting about
when did he?
Early 2000s, right before he hopped on Civil War.
Was that during
before or after like the
was that during
Michael Turner covers?
The Aguirre, I forget his name, but he does the Archie comics or the Archie.
Was this before? Was this before the Fantastic Four?
It would have been JMS. JMS was before Civil War because McDuffie took over for the tie-ins, and then it went to Millar.
No, it was Marvel Knight 4. It wasn't Fantastic Four.
Oh, it wasn't Fantastic. You're right. Okay, yes. It was more. You're completely right. I was thinking mainstream.
I was thinking, I was like, I just did a Fantastic Four binge. I'm like, I just read every Fantastic Four comic from the modern age. I just finished that binge. I know what I'm like, I didn't
know what I'm talking about.
I totally forgot about that series. Yep. You're 100% right.
But wait, no. I have to go check that one out. But it's weird because the one thing that Mark Millar's Fantastic Four really lacked was everything I wanted in this book. Is those intricate moments, and that just didn't happen in his. But I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So we got number 42. That number is really important. We shift gears to James Jonah Jameson. He's like trying to get coverage on what is going on the streets for Team Iron Man because a lot of our heroes are starting to come forward, unmask and register, so we know who they are. And we see Spider-Man swinging through the streets because he's on his way to meet up with Tony, and he's on his way to figure out what's going on. And how he can help Iron Spider forward. And he's in his Iron Spider costume that we know from the movies. Also, this was a suit that was made for him by Tony Stark as more of a courtesy. It was like a courtesy gift. But it's more used as like a favor now. It's more like, yeah, I made this suit for you, so do me a favor. So we flip over to the Young Avengers. So we see Patriot. He is running away from a bunch of SHIELD agents. They are patrolled like there is a Starbucks at every corner. They're there. Right?
Good comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a fantastic comparison. And he ends up getting caught. The whole Young Avengers squad gets caught. So that consists of Stature, who is Cassie Lang, Wiccan, Hulkling, Kate Bishop, and Patriot. So this squad gets captured, and we see some of Captain America's team who has infiltrated SHIELD at that time. So we see Cable and we see a few others. Falcon. They get the Young Avengers out, and Wiccan casts a spell, and they go back to headquarters because apparently he knows where that is. And then Dazzler, not Dazzler, what's her name? Dagger. Dagger points to the screen because we see Tony Stark on the TV, followed by Peter Parker unmasking himself in front of the general public. And this is a really iconic scene, which even sets up this is like the biggest moment because Spider-Man's identity is the most sacred thing in to his character. Is I'm keeping Peter Parker and Spider-Man separate
to protect everybody.
To protect everyone. And he got MJ and Aunt May's permission, yes, to do this, which is big because then we're gonna end up doing like a moment in time, and then we're gonna get a whole Spider-Man No Way Home situation going on in that book. We get a whole bunch of craziness. And this is a really key plot point because this causes turmoil in Spider-Man throughout this book. A lot of these characters have their own plot line, which is really true to their characters. So you ask yourself, how would Spider-Man react in this situation? The answer is going to be, well, he's going to question himself, think he's doing the right thing, flip the script, and then that's exactly what happens. So we move on to the third issue. This is really where we see the plot go forward, where both sides are trying to get extra help in this war that is about to start. It's like the war has not really started. The big battles have not started. This is the issue where it happens. Mr. Fantastic goes to Wakanda to ask Black Panther for his aid, and Black Panther's like, we're not involved in what the United States does. Which I thought that this was really, really dynamic. It was great, and I'm actually really excited that we didn't really see Wakanda take a stand, and it was true to itself.
It's the same thing with Doctor Strange, which is the panel right below. He became neutral during this whole thing.
Right, Doctor Strange went isolated in the North Pole, went on a whole fasting trip while the Watcher watched him fast and like pray, and do whatever. Tony Stark goes over to the X mansion, and he is talking to Emma Frost for aid. And Emma Frost is like, yeah, see, here's the thing. I'm all well and good with this, but you got to learn with people not liking you. That's how we survive. People don't like us. We've survived this. But where were you when Genosha died and our babies were crying? And I was like, oh.
Oh.
I was like, oh, damn. I was like,
well,
damn, Emma.
Well,
I was like,
she's not wrong, though.
She's really not. And I was like, you know what? I would do the same, Emma. I would say the same exact thing.
I'm not surprised at all the mutants didn't take a side in. I mean, a certain few did, but mutants as a whole, like society and culture, didn't take a side in this. Because when does the Avengers ever take a side and help out the mutants ever? Like
never. So never. So it was almost like, where were you during House of M? Oh, you tried to tell us what to do, and you didn't want to help us in the aftermath. And then Bishop is like, Iron Man, wait up.
I love it's the future X-Men that always get, because Cable's with Cap and then Bishop takes a side with Iron Man. Like they know what's coming. So like we need to take a side. We know the BS that's about to happen.
That's actually really thoughtful. That's a really subtle.
Yeah, it's the future ones, it's Bishop and Cable.
Right. So then we see some of our other heroes. We see the flip side breaking in. They're trying to be in public. Right, so we got Cap, we got Hercules.
I love his mustache.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on?
That's
like,
my favorite thing.
We have Matt Murdock. You see he's blind because his eyes are like going like 10 different directions. We see Luke Cage. I believe that is Luke Cage or Falcon? I believe
that's Goliath.
That's Goliath. Ow. Whoops. That's Goliath. Oh yeah, Goliath is pretty important in this book.
Very important in this book.
And then they get a call that there's a bunch of super people out in the negative zone. So that's where they go. They go there, and it's where Stark Industries. It's a building owned by Stark Industries, so it's a trap. And the first thing they do is they tranquilize, or they shoot poison dart arrows at Cloak and Wiccan, so no one can escape, because that's how they escaped the first time.
Yeah,
was Wiccan. And so they have shield in the sky, and Iron Man is using this as an olive branch, right? But Cap is pissed that Iron Man already struck first by taking out 2 people. So after they shake hands, right, it's really an EMP, and Iron Man goes like, excuse me, he starts rattling, and then the big guys start fighting. So we get Giant Man, and we get Hank Pym, we get Goliath fighting, we get everyone just breaking out, right? All this fighting just goes deep. We got Spider-Man and his Iron Spider going against Cap. We get Iron Man coming in, and everyone is just trying to bash each other. This is where we're getting the heaviest fight scenes. This is one of the most beautiful sequences in this book. And then we see this Thor character come crashing down to end the 4th issue.
It's getting crazy.
It
really was. This fight scene is just so brutal, but like it's also ridiculously beautiful, and at the same time, like it's like I said, MicNiven's art in this is just seriously next level, and that whole sequence was first off needed, and just wanted to show the brutality of both of them. Again, Cap wouldn't listen. Cap doesn't want to talk, while Iron Man is just wants to have his word heard, right? So it's both sides not really hearing each other.
100%. Steph, how are you feeling?
Good story.
Right on. So Thor is coming in, and he is not really caring who he hits. He's hitting people on both sides. He's going through everybody, and this is where we start to get a little bit of escape from everything. Cap is getting beat pretty bad because he is getting double teamed. Falcon comes in and saves him, and they go to escape. Thor shoots a big ball. He goes full throttle in targeting Goliath from the back, and Goliath falls. And Thor's like, where is everyone going? Sue ends up shielding them from it, and this is where Sue gets captured, and a lot of other people get captured. They took a huge loss, and Cloak teleported as many people as he could out there. And this is like where the Watcher starts to shed a tear, because this is the first this is the first casualty among this superhero civil war that we are on. Tony's side, the team that is supposed to be on the side of the legislation, on the side of the law, has killed a Marvel character, has killed a hero.
It's just like out of nowhere. Like it was so crazy. Like you don't think that the hero's killed. Like it's not a thing. No one's the Punisher here. Like, you're expecting them just to fight it out and then be best friends at the end. But this was a huge moment.
This was probably one of the bigger turning points, this death. And that is really where we see a lot of people on both sides question where they are in this story, where they are in this situation. Do they want to keep fighting, or are they going to back out, or are they jumping ship? Some heroes jump ship, some just completely back the F out, right? The Thing backs out, and this is causing a lot of turmoil, especially in the Fantastic Four. Captain America kind of sees this as a win, simply because, yes, somebody died, but it looks horrible on Tony's side.
This is also where you start seeing Peter question whether he should be here or not. Like he's like, I thought you said no one's going to hurt Tony. Like exactly what I was saying before. He's still under the impression that because Peter's like one of the most virtuous of all of them. Like he's like, we're all heroes. What are we doing? Like, why are we? Everyone's supposed to be okay, and they weren't. So,
right, 100%. And the Goliath couldn't shrink for his funeral, so like he had like an 8-foot grave, or like 12-foot, however tall he is. And then we get a really powerful letter, from Sue Richards to Reed. And it's saying how she is ashamed of everything that has been going on, because that is what they have cocked up. This is not Thor who killed. Wasn't Thor who killed that killed Goliath. This was a clone of Thor that was bred in a laboratory by Reed, Hank, and Mr. Fantastic. Now, before Sue leaves, she makes a perfect date night. Right? They go out to dinner. They go dancing. They do their thing, and then she leaves. And Ben Grimm sees this happening, so he leaves too, and he really checks out of this situation. And then we figure out another plot point that Tony Stark has done, and the reason why they've kidnapped so many villains is because they're trying to redo their configuration to control their thought process to be heroes. So So this is where we get the Thunderbolts, and that consists of, we got like Lady Deathstrike in there, you got Bullseye in there, you got it looks like Taskmaster, Venom, you get a lot, Grim Reaper, Jack-o'-lantern, you get a lot of villains, right? Some are A level, some are B level, some are even like C level that you don't necessarily see a whole lot, which is really, really, really enriching as a Marvel fan to see that, okay, a lot of these characters matter in this story.
Yep.
Moving on to the 5th issue, we see Human Torch, who was out of the hospital at this point. Reed didn't even bother to know, which is why Sue was a little bit bugged by it. And Shield is on their back trying to get them. And we're seeing still a whole lot of stuff going on. Iron Man is in a meeting with Spider-Man, who is flipping the sides. He is flipping to Team Captain America, and he is letting Tony know that he's basically a douchebag in so many words. Tony is still trying to defend himself.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, he literally says you're a douchebag. Yeah, all he considers that. And Maria Hill is equally a douchebag. So Spider-Man is on the run, and he gets attacked by 2 of his villains. He gets attacked by Jack-o'-lantern, and he gets attacked by the Jester. So 2 of his niche villains that we don't necessarily see a whole lot, kind of like how we said earlier. And this is how he knows that, okay, Iron Man has sent these guys after me. And Spider-Man is getting his butt kicked because he just had a fight with Iron Man. You know, you don't walk away from that with like sunshine and rainbows, especially if you name it Spider-Man. So someone comes to Spider-Man's aid, and we get a blur of that logo. On the flip side, we have Team Captain America. They are preparing to infiltrate Team Iron Man's bases, and they're trying to send out other people on assignments. Like Hulkling has a pretty big assignment that we are definitely going to get a tease later. So dialogue is really important in this book. We end up seeing that is Punisher, who came to Spider-Man's aid, and Spider-Man is now officially on Team Captain America, which is really, really cool. And Punisher's reasoning for flipping the script is because now you have people who have killed on Tony Stark's team, on Iron Man's team. These guys were the ones that did the killing. That is something that the Punisher does not stand for. He is somebody who will kill violence, not breed it.
Agreed.
Even though he breeds it, which is an interesting thing about the Punisher. We see our some of our heroes like Daredevil who got captured, and they're taking him to the negative zone, which is like this whole. It's a max security prison meant to hold these people. So that's what that number 42 was. It was a portal. So they built this portal, kind of like a gateway to this prison that has one way in and one way out that we know of. Okay. And then Daredevil, being a religious person, has honestly one of my favorite lines. He calls Iron Man Judas. And I was like, that was really, really thoughtful wording. The dialogue in this book is just genius.
It's just ridiculously good. It's all around good. Yeah.
It is fantastic. So we are at the penultimate issue. And this is where we get to see like Namor on one of the variant covers here. So Namor is going to be in this book, which that's what we were talking about earlier. Maria Hill is trying to train some other heroes because they're running thin right now. After the death of Goliath, this was a huge turning point because a lot of people fell out of the ranks of Iron Man's regime of registered superheroes, even though they're already registered. And then it's a little ridiculous because you see Iron Man standing next to an American flag in broad day, like at night, kind of like posing. And I was like, man. Can't do that. You really can't. But okay. We see the Punisher. He breaks in to the Baxter building, and he is able to download a lot of intel about the negative zone so that they can take it back and plan their big infiltration. Invisible Woman, she gets sent to Atlantis. So there is a history in the Marvel Comics between Namor and Sue. Yep. Namor has always had feelings for Sue, but Sue chose Reed first, and Namor has kind of resented Reed for that. But Namor is always like, yeah, we'll do stuff on the side. And Sue's like, no, we won't. He's like, oh, but I'm Namor. I'm always shirtless. You know, come on, let's do this. So Sue brought up a point that, you should come to the aid of one of your friends. Namor's like, but he sent you here. Try to appeal to me. He's like, yeah, that's some friend. He's like, I don't care. He's like, I really don't care. What's going on right now? And this doesn't affect me because I'm down below. Just like the tides don't affect you, your war does not affect us.
It's true, yeah. I mean, classic Namor. Arrogance beyond all reason.
It really is. Right. And then Namor's like, but you'll be back because I know what you're going through with Reed. And she's like, we're not doing anything. And he's like, he's like, I can feel your heartbeat through the water, Mrs. Richards. And notice how he says Mrs. I was like, Mrs. Okay. And he says, and it tells a very different story from the lies upon your lips. I was like, yeah, like, good job, Namor.
He knows what he's doing.
Like Namor is speaking to the ladies at this point. We see Spider-Man back in his classic suit, and we are gearing up to invade the negative zone.
This one scene though coming up is huge, I think, and because you have the Punisher in there too, and he comes in on this meeting right with these two like low level villains, and he immediately without hesitation kills them. Kills him in front of all heroes. He doesn't care. He's Punisher. This is exactly who the Punisher is. And so Cap goes right after him, and he keeps beating him up. And Cap's like, "Well, fight back, you coward!" And he's like, "I won't fight against you. You're Captain America." You know. Right. And it's such a pivotal scene in this story when it comes to like, and then you see Cap just stop. He's like, "Okay,
you're right.
What are we doing? You know, like what are we doing right now?"
Right.
And I love it. It's such a good scene. Such a very powerful scene.
That was one of the more powerful scenes in this book. And it's like whenever you're thinking about, okay, when I say this is true to characters, that's what would happen, you know?
Yeah.
Mark Millar is a huge visionary in Marvel Comics. He didn't do a whole lot of big events, I wouldn't say. I mean, he did Ultimates, he did Civil War, Old Man Logan, Enemy of the State. But wow, I listed like, 4 or 5. But Mark Millar wasn't as well known as we know today. I would say like your Jonathan Hickmans or your Bendis's. Might be a hot take. Stefan is looking at me weird.
Well, I mean, you would know him from like Secret Service. Well, Kingsman. If people have seen the Kingsman movies, that's him. Kick-Ass as well. So
yeah. Like his indie projects are probably more well known than his Marvel works. Next to Civil War and Logan, I would say. Yeah, we don't talk about that book.
Oh yeah, Red Sun. Thank you.
Red Sun sucked.
Yeah. I like Red Sun. I think it was really good.
I couldn't stand Red Sun. Red Sun is like one of my least favorite books. Totally so people are starting to compare like Captain America and Frank Castle. Like Captain America's like, yeah, no, this guy's insane.
Yeah,
we flip to, we're building the suspense of what is going to happen. We see the Watcher and Doctor Strange meet, and he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, like today's the day that's going to happen. He's like, which one spills the least amount of blood tonight? Which I was like, oh. Wow.
So, I know, right? Yeah, that's really big.
So we go to Rikers Island, which is where one of the portals is leading us into the negative zone, where all of our heroes are kept. And we see the intel that Captain America comes in, and then Iron Man's like, yeah, no. This was another one of the traps that we set for you, because now we have all you guys in the negative zone to lock you up. You just walked in to your jail cell. All we got to do is shut down the other side, and you are so many other words that Jeff Bezos was when he lost his wife and she took half his riches. You know, you're screwed. Yeah, that's basically what Iron Man's saying. He's like, you guys are screwed. And there's a mole in Team Captain America, but they knew about it. So Captain's like, oh yeah, we knew the tiger was the mole. And Iron Man's like, yeah, how? And we see Hank Pym turn into Hulkling, and I was like, that's awesome. And then Mr. Fantastic's like, if he's Hank, then he could get in anywhere, even the cells. So that's what happens. Everyone breaks out, and we see our Daredevil back. We see some of our other characters that got trapped, like Hercules, I believe, was trapped. And the tides are turned. Now it's like 50-50. Now there's a battle, and we are in the 7th issue. This is the last issue. This is where the big battle happens. Cap says Avengers assemble, and this is where we get like some of the controversy. Like, I thought we were the Avengers. No.
Yeah,
we're the Avengers.
Like Bishop just said that, yeah.
Yeah, Bishop's like, yeah, we should be the Avengers. And then we get S.H.I.E.L.D. that is like trying to block the gateway. But Black Panther and Dagger end up taking that over. So Black Panther is now involved in this, which is really cool because Goliath died, Black Panther's like, yeah, no. I take some responsibility because I didn't join in earlier. And as an Avenger, as someone who has been tied with this, I wronged the situation. And Maria Hill is going crazy about this. And Cloak teleports everybody, and now we are in New York City. And the fight is happening in the public eye. We see Namor's forces come in too, which was crazy. Namor comes in, and we see a lot of the villains from Iron Man's side fighting as well. The clone Thor comes in, but we see Hercules really take him on. We see Vision come in behind Iron Man, kind of as like a little sneak attack while he's confronting Captain America. And this is honestly some of the best artwork. If I were to just dissect each and every panel in here, we'd be here all day, and it's really gorgeous. So I would recommend definitely checking this out if you haven't already, because this is an essential story, and it is honestly just some of the best artwork you will ever see in a Marvel comic. Hercules, what was funny is he takes Thor's hammer and he picks it up. So here's my question: this is not Mjolnir.
No.
This isn't Mjolnir. So he picks it up and he wields lightning, and he's like, "Yeah, you're not Thor." And Robot Thor is now dead.
Ragnarok, yeah, he just destroys him.
Yeah, no, he's like, it was kind of like that scene with Ares in Secret Invasion where he gets torn. Where was it? Ares who did the tearing, or was it Thor? No, it was Sentry tore Ares.
Sentry tore Ares in half. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was dope.
And it was Siege.
Yeah. Oh, Siege. My bad. Thank you, Stefan. And then we see that Captain America is about to deliver the final blow on Iron Man, but then the public of New York City starts attacking Captain America, and he looks up, sees all the damage that has happened, and he's like, we've lost. Like, both sides lost because we lost the public. And he turns himself in and gets arrested, leaves his mask behind. Frank Castle picks it up, and Reed writes to his wife saying how things are going to change. We see a new initiative where Tony Stark is the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. That is one of the biggest outcomes of this story. We see some heroes that go to Canada to go back to the old ways where you can just be a vigilante. So we see like our John Walker. I think that was like Beta Ray Bill in there. I think that's not like stuff, but it's like we see some of like characters that, okay, I could see them doing that. I'm sorry?
Shaman.
Perfect. And then we see our villains getting sent back to the negative zone, because now that it's saying, they're like, yeah, we can utilize it now. So then no one has to break out of Rikers and do like a New Warriors thing all over again. Hank Pym, for some reason, won Man of the Year. Cool. And then, like we said, Tony Stark is in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. now, as a compromise, so that the superheroes can still have like that voice in the government, but also still be kept in check. And the whole solution is that their job is to be that public eye and to be for the public, and that same lady that yelled at Tony Stark is now his assistant. So I was like, okay, that's okay. That's fine. So the reason why there is a 42 right there, which that gets revealed, is because there are 42 different ideas for how we can earn the public back. There's like 42 different ways. And the 43rd was cleaning up S.H.I.E.L.D. So now that Steve has done that, he like makes a promise that like, yeah, we're going to be like better than ever now, because we went through this mistake and we're better off for it. And that ends the book. I really like it.
Ridiculously good.
Yeah.
It is honestly one of the most essential reads in Marvel Comics. This is absolutely one of my favorite books. And it's like, I kind of forgot about how much I love this book until like I always go back and reread it. So I'm like, oh yeah, Civil War, it's a good book. But then I reread it again. I'm like, oh my god, this was amazing.
Yeah, it was. It's just it needed to happen. It was a good point in Marvel Comics that it needed to kind of have a jump in like the message that they were kind of sending out to the world, and to be like, we could be taken seriously and have these like big existential questions being asked of superheroes. Like it was a really, really cool step.
100%. I agree with everything you said, Michael. Stefan, what are your thoughts? Hindsight
stands up. It's worth reading. Definitely check it out.
100%, guys. Coming up on Comixkings, we have on Monday we have weekly wrap up every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's a show where Bryce, Hillbilly Comics, and we go over all the books that came out the week before, and we talk about them, review them, share our thoughts. And then there's also a movie segment. I think I have to watch The Matrix this weekend. I don't know yet. I don't know if I'll have time to watch The Matrix yet, so we'll see what we're doing there. Or we might just continue to talk about Spider-Man. We might talk about Boba Fett, because that came out. And then on Wednesday, part of Whiplash Wednesday with the PCP Army Bad Batch, we're having Jed McKay on 6 p.m. Eastern time. And then we also have a new episode of Christ on Infinite Ranch dropping that day as well. So you get 2 videos that day. And then big shout out to the PTP Army Bad Batch. Their links are all in the description below. If you haven't checked out Whiplash Wednesday, make sure you do so. Amazing content with amazing creators, amazing friends in the comic community. And then archives every Friday. You guys already know. Make sure you guys follow Michael on Instagram, Stefan on Instagram. Everything is in the description below. Next week, we are going to be doing Naomi by Brian Michael Bendis, David F. Walker, and Jamal Campbell, which is a fantastic story that I'm excited to talk about as well.
I like it.
All right, you guys. Take care. Have a great Friday. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up on your way out, and we are out. Let's get this roll call going.